step downfield. And he'll go for the assist as well. From one layout to another, the AlleyCats find a way to get it done.
High-powered point there.
Going for Havey. Havey's able to get there. On Betch dives and he got it. Oh my goodness, Nicholas Betch.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy. We're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Googman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Googman House. Learn more at GoogmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Googman House Brewing.
New players on the team this year. That's shaping probably something new. Like you didn't know what to expect with this chemistry. How are you feeling about that chemistry?
As far as chemistry, when you've got this much of a group that's unfamiliar with one another, you have to lean into what I would coin artificial chemistry. So traditional chemistry is, hey, you and I have known each other and played together for a decade. Artificial chemistry, I believe, can still be valuable, but that looks more like we are going to be fairly rigid at the beginning about our system and where we go and when I can expect you to be there, because that's going to breed confidence. If I know for sure where you're going to be, that breeds confidence in me, and that can generate what we call artificial chemistry. Hopefully what that builds is a natural chemistry, which can evolve from that. But we've got to lean into what we have right now, which is discipline and system, and hope that that kind of takes root and germinates some kind of real chemistry.
Maybe talk about natural grass over turf.
I personally love playing in natural grass over turf. When you lay out on natural grass, a lot of times you stand up feeling just fine. On turf, it feels like anytime I lay out, I'm picking up little nicky-nack injuries, whether it's a turf burn or a sprain or an ache or a bruise or something. So personally, I love natural grass, love the way it feels under the cleats. I think you can expect to see, especially at like a well-maintained field like Kuntz, you won't see any difference in performance that sometimes can be brought about by natural grass versus turf. I think that all you're gonna see is players more willing to lay out, players more willing to take chances on discs because they know there's a softer cushion when they land.
Disc in your life, like what was it attracted you to that piece of plastic?
Well, first I learned to throw at camp. I learned to throw at camp up in Michigan. And then I started playing my freshman year at College of Charleston, and I think it was the people. My team name, it was the College of Charleston Bums. We're the Charleston Bums, and I just embodied that bum energy, you know? We were just goofy kids. We were just goofy kids having fun, and that really I came to a school where I didn't know a single person, found these Frisbee guys, and I was like, I think that these are gonna be my best friends. And then moved to Louisville and got involved with a club team, and I knew some of those guys played pro and didn't really know about it, and that's how I ended up meeting the AlleyCats through some Louisville folks that play, and yeah, found the team that way.
Did you know, like, man, I'm really good at this. I think I could go take the next level, like because club or against pro or because whatever. You know, when did that happen for you?
Yeah, I was never great at throwing to begin with. It was weird for me. Like I said, I played baseball, so switching the arm movement instead of up high going down to the side was a little weird. But I was a pretty good athlete in high school, and I had this big dude, the Serbian guy in high school, who had played in Serbia before he came to my high school. And he picked me freshman year. He was like, oh, I like this kid because I could catch. And he knew that when it came down to it, he could just send it out there, I'll go get it. And so that's when I was like, all right, pretty good. I became captain. I was like, all right, I want to do this in college. And then in college, I was like, I could maybe play pro here. I want to try to do it. And eventually made it happen. And so here we are, 4 years later now.
What's the difference between playing indoors, outdoors, and how does that affect the team?
Yeah, obviously weather will play a big factor between when it comes to outdoors versus indoors, but I'm excited for that for us, really. I think it gives our defense opportunity, obviously, to let the conditions play and shows the skilled offensive guys to make plays despite the weather. So I'm really excited for Kuntz, really. I've heard from the guys that have played there how exciting that place is, how it's close to a lot of our fans. I'm really hoping to have a packed house and a great energy at our games.
Why did you stay with Ultimate, though? Of all the other sports to play, why Ultimate?
Well, on my freshman year coming in, I knew how to throw. So a lot of the players that were rookies didn't have the forehand throw, and I was kind of good at it. I was kind of like good at Frisbee, and I was like, I've never been good at soccer, basketball, and was okay at lacrosse, and it was the first sport where I really actually enjoyed playing it so much and kind of succeeded at it, kind of played well, actually.
Can you talk about the offensive system a little bit?
Yeah. So, this year we're going to be, I think, much more of an aggressive style offense. We're going to be willing and looking to move the disc vertically downfield more. So you should expect to see some bigger shots and fast pace though. So we're going to be moving quickly, and I think it really plays well into the skill set of the guys that are on the team this year. So it'll highlight what we're good at, and should make it fun for the fans too.
Wildcats. Why do you want to play pro?
Yeah. In the club season, as a member of leadership, a lot of my effort and energy goes into, mentoring young guys, developing strategies for the team as a whole. So my time with the AlleyCats, I get to lock in on me a little bit more, focus on my own development as a player, and it's just fun. I mean, like, playing in front of fans is not something that you get to do in club, so getting to do that is a big part of it as well.
What's the best part of your game?
I've always been a defensive player. I think, like I said, my speed, athleticism really helped me out with that stuff, and I'd really like to bring that onto the offensive side. I think that the same reasons I'm good at defense could be helpful on the offensive side, and I'm looking forward to improve my disc skills and really bring it up to the next level, because I think I could be pretty deadly on that side too.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy. We're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Googman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Googman House. Learn more at GoogmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Googman House Brewing.
Betch has a step downfield, and he'll go for the assist as well. Goodeman from one layout to another. The AlleyCats find a way to get it done.
High-powered point there.
AlleyCats back in front.
From his brother.
Going for Havey. Havey's able to get there. Betch dives and he got it. Oh my goodness, Nicholas Betch. Could he have his man? Yes, he does.
It is a battle between two ultimate rivals that know each other very well. The Detroit Mechanix, a record of 1-8, take on the 2-8 Indianapolis AlleyCats on WatchUFA.tv. Along with Kelsey Sparks, I'm John Herrick. And Kelsey, these teams have already played each other twice this year, and Indy has won both meetings, but Detroit is feeling like this could be it. The third time could be the charm.
Lots to prove tonight for Detroit, who haven't beaten the AlleyCats since 2012. They're ready to break that streak tonight and get this victory in the third matchup of the season.
And for the AlleyCats, they're trying to get their offense corrected.
Rough week last week in Madison. The AlleyCats really struggled against that zone the Radicals threw at them, but Coach Drew Shepard is feeling pretty good about being able to bounce back tonight.
Well, even though the Detroit Mechanix have several guys out tonight, there is one of their players that has really been standing out this season, and that is Jake Felton, with the way he has been able to fill up the stat sheet and keep Detroit in a lot of these games.
In only 20 games as a pro, Felton has already cemented himself in the Detroit legacy. He is fourth in the UFA in assists and leading the Mechanix in assists by quite a large margin. He's also third all-time in assists per game in the UFA and first in Huck completion percentage. So a lot of the Mechanix successes or failures are riding on Jacob Felton tonight.
What do you think the keys to victory are for the Detroit Mechanix?
We got to talk to Coach Brent Steep before the game, who shared that they've just been beating themselves this season. So today he told them, don't beat yourself, be adaptable. And he says that we're going to see lots of different looks from the Mechanix.
Should be interesting to see. And then on the other side for the AlleyCats, the guy who's been filling up the stat sheet lately has been Cole Heiser. 20 assists, 9 goals, 11 blocks in just his second year with Indianapolis. What has made him so difficult to deal with for the opposition, Kelsey?
In a rebuilding season for the AlleyCats, they've been looking for some young guys to step up, and I would argue that none have stepped up more than Cole Heiser. He's leading the team in assists now and total yards. He's become a handler that his team can rely on. Expect to see a lot of him tonight.
And if you're the AlleyCats, what are your keys to victory?
Coach Drew Shepard said that they need to minimize the Mechanix Huck completions. The Mechanix live or die on the Huck. AlleyCats need to keep those to a minimum, as well as they want to set their personal best in turnovers. That's offensive turnovers. Their goal is to have less than 20 offensive turnovers, tying their season record of 19.
Yeah, they've had quite a few, and he mentioned this a lot, did Drew Shepard, as he was tired of seeing the turnover numbers get as high as 30 or more in some of these losses this season, so trying to get that corrected. This game has already been delayed by an hour. We were supposed to start at 6 p.m. local time. It is just after 7, and the rain has started to come down once again. So we will continue to play in the rain as long as there is no lightning in the area. If we do have lightning in the area, then we will have to stop things and delay it. Here's a look at the current conditions. It's 77 degrees. It is humid. I'll be quite frank, it's pretty gross outside. It's going to be not very easy if you're one of these players. 85% humidity. The wind will probably be a factor too. It's getting close to 10 miles an hour. We'll see how that plays into everything with the disc.
And for two teams that have struggled with their turnover numbers this season, that added wind resistance could definitely be a factor.
So Travis Carpenter is the man who did the ceremonial first poll. He was a longtime AlleyCat. He's now a member of the ownership group. Travis is going to join us in the second quarter of tonight's game here on WatchUFA.tv. He played in a lot of these games against the Mechanix, so it'll be interesting to get Travis up here and get his perspective on things. As the poll by the AlleyCats goes out of play, the Mechanix will get to go up to the brick with this. It's Chris Walsh who is coming up. Walsh, a familiar face if you're an AlleyCat fan. He played in Indianapolis back in 2021. and he's the man who has the disc first and is shadowed by Jake Wall. Fans in attendance started to pull out their umbrellas, and we'll see how much the rain is a factor, if any. Only 2 wins this season for the AlleyCats are against the Mechanix. The only win for the Mechanix is against Pittsburgh. And fight for the disc early on. That's exactly what Coach Shepard did not want to have happen. The long throws down the field, and Joe Cubitt comes up big for the Mechanix right off the bat.
There's one of those Jake Felton hucks that we just highlighted before the start of the game, and he wastes no time bringing him out in this one.
And for Joe Cubitt, he just got his 11th goal of the season. He has spent his entire career with Detroit. Definitely a fan favorite. He's got speed, he's got endurance, and he has seen it all. So less than a minute into the game, the Mechanix get on the board. And now we'll take a look at that AlleyCats offensive front and what they can do. Detroit scoring 16 points a game. They're allowing 25. Indianapolis scoring 17, and they are allowing 24. So both teams very similar statistically. And here we go with the AlleyCats now getting the disc. The huck was done there by Nicholas Akers. Akers, a last-minute addition to the lineup because Gabe DeBrosi could not go. He has a brace on his left knee, so Akers took his spot on the field once DeBrosi told Coach Steep that he could not play tonight. AlleyCats trying to get on the board here. That is Joel Close with it. Jack Gall's now got it. Gall's been coming on of late. Throw, did he get it in though? No, they said he got it back up and batted down. So Michael Ames had to back up. He didn't quite get it in the end zone, so he had to throw it in, and the Detroit Mechanix get the defensive stand there.
Just trying to force it up the sideline there, Ames was, and it did not work out for them. Got to be a little bit more patient in moments like that. Don't have to cram it up the sideline.
But then the Mechanix cannot hang on, and dropping it that time is Cameron Talagani. So now the AlleyCats with a chance here outside their own goal line. Michael Ames gets to pick it up, lob it, has a man wide open, and we are knotted up. So the AlleyCats force a Detroit mistake there, and coming up with that, Jack Havey, who got a rousing applause and just scored his 8th goal of the year.
Havey, a former Mechanix player, one of many that have played for both teams in this game tonight. Havey is super quick and tough to guard. We've talked about him quite a bit this season.
There's a look at Frisbee, the AlleyCat mascot. Well, he's got to be toasty in that uniform tonight. That is with the humidity being what it is.
The shirt he's wearing is a subtle shout out to the AlleyCats coaching staff. They're always wearing those crazy cat shirts. You can see head coach Drew Shepard in one now. So I like that Frisbee's getting in on the crazy shirt action too.
It's also got a bit of a, he's always got a bit of a tropical vibe, does Coach Shepard with his attire. So the Cats go with the rolling pole, trying to trap the Mechanix near the sideline. And wide open near the back, score. And right off the bat, Kelsey, 2 very easy scores for the Mechanix, and the AlleyCats trying to clean that up there. That time it's Connor Concannon who got it, and he is a guy that you got to watch out for. He just got his 18th goal of the year.
He is leading the Mechanix in goals this season. And, John, if you're the AlleyCats, you can't let that happen. I mean, we talked about how Felton is going to try to huck it. A team leader in assists, throws it to the team leader in goals after the roller pool where you should have your defense set up. So no excuse for that breakdown from the AlleyCats.
Let's see how they bounce back from it. And it is Akers doing the pull once again for Detroit. Standing next to him is Terry Gaither, who is well known in the Ultimate community. And Gaither played in Indianapolis in 2018. He told us he is returning from a hamstring injury, so
he's missed the last 4 games this season, so he is certainly excited to be back on the field. Mechanix are pumped to have him. Terry has been a leader on this team for quite a while now, well known in the Ultimate community. Just one of the hardest workers on the field, and his presence adds so much to the team.
So that pull goes out of the back of the end zone. Cats get to bring it up to the brick. If you're just watching Ultimate for the first time, it's kind of like the equivalent of a touchback in football. Noah Walls got it, plays catch with Jack Gall. Up the field come the Cats. Joel Close with it.
And we've got a different personnel on the O-line the Cats are showing this week than in previous games. Coach Shepard often likes to play his 7 most efficient players on the O-line, the guys with the least amount of turnovers.
Carson Chamberlain, who is a former Detroit Mechanic in his own right, had 20 goals for Detroit last year, has scored 11 this year for the AlleyCats, and the AlleyCats get back in the scoring column, and it's Havey once again. So well done there by Jack Havey to make himself available and tie this up at 2. You just felt so much energy. Not that everything is about pregame warm-ups, but you felt energy from Havey in warm-ups and a lot of energy when he was announced as a starter tonight. Very, very good move for him.
Everybody knows what's on the line this game for 2 longtime rivals. The Mechanix are playing with a chip on their shoulder since they haven't beaten the AlleyCats since 2012. But we have had a lot of close games in the last 13 years, though.
Yep, and it doesn't matter where it's been, whether it's been at Grand Park, whether it's been here at Coons Stadium, or whether it has been in Detroit. The games have been close, and even the games that aren't close on the scoreboard typically are until we get to about the 4th quarter. AlleyCats have made a lot of hay pulling away late in these games against Detroit. There's a misfire, leads to a turnover as the disc is dropped. AlleyCats have a chance to get it across here.
First break opportunity for the AlleyCats.
It's Jason Kemp looking around. That one was nearly swiped away. Know how important red zone offense is anyway, but it's going to be especially important for 2 teams trying to find something offensively. Sam Ingham's got it. Ingham made a heck of a play earlier this season against Chicago. Threw the disc a little high there, but Kemp was able to get it. AlleyCats being as patient as possible. Detroit's defense, though, holding up well so far. Betch has it, and Betch to the outside. Ingham dives and cannot get there. So the Detroit Mechanix with a chance here. But they got to go deep in their own zone to do it.
Cats were patient for so long, but it just got away from them at the end, so the Mechanix have a much-needed opportunity to hold. And is Felton going to put it up again?
Well, that's been the thing. The way that the Mechanix have scored these first 2 points have been off huck tries, batted away by Ingham. Ingham just gets his hand on that and says, no, sir. Now the Cats with a chance to score once again.
Ingham has been another standout rookie for the AlleyCats. I mean, he's been on the O-line, on the D-line, really versatile player, has been there for his team. Glad he comes up with the D there.
Just got his 2nd block of the season. Ryan Wartenberg had it. Into the end zone it goes, and that time it's swiped away. And Felton comes up with a nice defensive play that time. Both teams playing some pretty good defense, especially with Detroit doing it in the red zone. Floating out there, diving for it. Everything's contested right now. Defense applied there by Owen Woodward, another young AlleyCat player. AlleyCat fans chanting defense as loud as they can, hoping for a stop. Beating themselves, that's the name of the game for both teams. Both teams have said that. They've done too much of that. Long huck down the field. Walsh has it. Ingham is able to deny him a chance at getting it in the end zone, but Felton is able to get up there. So now how does the AlleyCat defense hold? They cannot get through, and the Mechanix are able to score again. Connor Kincannon really doing a heck of a job.
We said the Mechanix were going to live and die based on the huck tries. That one pans out for them. AlleyCats just not able to communicate effectively downfield on that one. Concannon adding another goal to his season total, making it 19. He leads the team.
And for Chris Walsh, he just got his 4th assist of the year. What do you think if you're the AlleyCats, Kelsey? What do you have to try to adjust about your defense, especially against long huck tries?
I would say better communication downfield, always knowing who the last back is. I mean, the Cats know that the Mechanix are going to huck it. That's one of their main game plans that they use frequently. So being able to shut that down, maybe put another person back in the deep space, but at the very least communicate, make sure you know who's last back, and don't let them behind you.
Honestly, if you look at the Detroit Mechanix and you go just off their record, you're going to miss out on some talent. Connor Concannon's one of those guys who fills up the stat sheet. But if you ask him who he is, he'll just humbly tell you, I'm just a kid from West Seattle that likes to toss the plastic. But he has done a heck of a job so far, making an impression early in this game, a big reason why his team has the early lead as the AlleyCats try to march back the other way. Noah Wall, and the disc is swiped down again. Coach Drew Shepard for Indianapolis has got to be upset about these turnover numbers already. Cameron Talagani is the one who's able to knock it free, and he'll get the disc here. But then he has a miscommunication. I think he was trying to get it to Gaither, and Gaither looks like he's come up a little bit hobbled.
That's not good if you're a Mechanix fan. Terry is coming back from that hamstring injury. He's been out the last 4 games, and I don't like the way that he's hobbling, limping a little bit on this. That is very concerning.
And if you're the AlleyCats, wonder if maybe might try to take advantage of it. That disc is up the sideline and caught well for the score by Jack Gall. So Jack Gall, who's really come on in recent weeks, just got his 12th goal of the season and ties this thing up at 3.
Jack Gall has long been considered one of the fastest guys on the AlleyCats as well. He really breaks free and makes it look easy there, and the assist comes from none other than our player to watch, Cole Heiser.
Yeah, Heiser's been doing a heck of a job with that, his 21st assist on the season. You know, one of the things, and Travis is going to probably talk with us about this, Travis Carpenter, the longtime AlleyCat, who is now part of the ownership group, as Drew Shepard draws some things up, and Sam Ingham helps him out there, is, you know, Travis said he wasn't sure about some of the young guys were going to be when Levi Jacobs and Rick Gross and him, all those guys retired, but he feels like they're really building something here with some of these young guys, Heiser and Gall being 2 of those.
It was great to see the energy and enthusiasm from Travis as he was talking about the future of this team. He said that the team now reminds him of when him and Rick Gross and Levi Jacobs, those longtime veterans, were young. He thinks that there's really something special building in Indianapolis right now, and after just a few seasons in the UFA, he thinks the AlleyCats will be contenders once more.
I think probably one of the things that Drew Shepard is discussing right there, Kelsey, is I got to think defensive alignment, right? I mean, that's been, I think, a problem so far.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to him before the game, and he said his number 1 key to the game was to minimize the Mechanix huck completions. I mean, you look at the points that have gone on the board thus far, 2 out of the 3 Mechanix scores have been hucks, and that 3rd score was opened up by a huck. So Mechanix really thriving in that huck space right now. AlleyCats need to adjust defensively and make the Mechanix work it up the field, work it through all 7 guys.
And they are 3 out of 3 on huck percentages. And that's one of the things, too, as the pull is a long one and it comes down. So Cats went with the rolling pull before, opt to go a different strategy this time. Nathan Plager had it, threw it up the middle, and it was dropped. Dropped by Connor Concannon. That's not something he normally does. AlleyCats try to take advantage of it, and they do. They take the lead, their first one of the night, and getting across that time, Mace Choke with his 7th goal of the year, and it's a big one as it puts the AlleyCats ahead.
First break of the game. We knew one was coming eventually. The AlleyCats made quick work of that break opportunity. Great offense there from their defensive line. And the Cats are on top.
And also good delivery there by Ben Landry. I know Landry's been hobbled by injuries at times over the last couple of years, so good to see Ben out there getting the assist that time.
The AlleyCats definitely missed him when he was out for the better part of 6 weeks this season. So he played 2 weeks ago here against Madison, and seems like the hamstring is holding up all right. Got to chat with him a little bit about it last week.
So Drew Hoppy decides to go with the rolling poles. He throws that toward the sideline, trying to pin the Mechanix up with a double team. But of course, Jake Felton, who's done long throw back there, wide open. That is the second time that has happened, and right away, a little bit of trolling there by David Cox, who's in his first season with Detroit, just got his 16th goal of the year. This is a young guy for them that they feel confident in, Kelsey.
David Cox has been a standout player for the Mechanix this year. He was somebody that was on the AlleyCats practice squad a few years ago, so another transfer there. And yes, he looks around. Where's my defender? Nowhere to be found.
All right, so now we mentioned the rain being a factor, and it is yet again. So now it is starting to come down outside. And the umbrellas are going back up. Again, they do play through it. Looking at the radar, this does not appear to be a very long system. It's just a pop-up shower. And as long as we don't have lightning, we'll be okay. But now it's just another piece of adversity for both teams to have to battle through.
First rainy game in Indianapolis for at least the last 6 seasons, as they used to play indoors. So we aren't used to this here.
And plays a factor there as the disc is dropped.
We're likely going to see a lot more turnovers now with the rain coming down as hard as it is.
And also, too, Brent Steep, the head coach for Detroit, calls a timeout. I think this is a pretty good timeout, Kelsey, on 2 fronts. One, you want to get the line up in there that you want, and then you get a chance to also tell your guys, hey, we got to figure out a way to make sure we fight through this rain right now. And that was one of the things that he said when he was speaking to us rather emphatically about being confident under any circumstance. Well, you're getting to deal with a difficult circumstance right here.
Absolutely. I love this timeout call from Coach Steep. This is the Mechanix' opportunity to get their first break of the game, get the lead back. I love the call to change lines here, and I'm sure he's reminding his guys in the huddle exactly what you said, confidence under any circumstance.
And that really embodies him. I mean, he is, every time we talk to him, he is confident no matter what his team's record is, what the score is. He's dealt with winless seasons where he's only won a game, and yet that man does not have any confidence erode there, as you see some AlleyCats fans doing all they can to struggle and stay as dry as possible.
Mechanix have had, quite a few rebuilding seasons, lots of rookies the last couple years. This year they have 18 rookies on the team, but Coach Steep was...
Yeah, he was very confident in that. He won't have rookies next year, as Joe Cubitt tried to throw the disc and looked like he lost the handle on it, and yep, the Cats just give it right back. And folks, just to give you an idea, it is coming down outside. I don't know that if you watch it on TV, I don't know that that's totally doing it justice, because it is really coming down hard. Huck try. Good job by the AlleyCats in the end zone.
Great effort there from Jake Wall to say no way to that Huck try from Felton.
He did get his hand on it, so for Jake Wall, that is his 5th block of the season. Wall, again, another one of those up-and-coming AlleyCats players. It'll be a part of this program for probably the foreseeable future. He's in his 3rd year, so he got a chance to learn from the Travis Carpenters, the Rick Gross, and the Levi Jacobses of the world before they retired. Jason Kemp fires it up the field, got it to Owen Woodward, and Woodward towards the end zone. Ingham almost made a great play at it. Plays like that are just going to be even harder when you're dealing with the weather the way it is. Break chance here once again for Detroit.
The AlleyCats were talking about minimizing those turnovers, to beat their personal best and get under 20. Basically, every player's allowed one, right? So Coach Shepard was telling his guys, use your one turnover wisely.
Fight for the huck, and the AlleyCats decide to say, nope, not doing that, and it's Wall again. What a job there by Jake Wall, and we got a Detroit Mechanic player down. That is David Cox. So, and a good job by Wall to come over and say, hey, referee, take a look at him, make sure he's okay. And Cox is able to get up. We'll see if he stays on the field, though. Detroit's already used one timeout this half.
Looks like Cox will have to get looked at on the sideline. Hopefully he's all right. Jake Wall with 2 back-to-back Ds there in the deep space.
Mechanics already have 14 guys that were listed as out coming into this game. So AlleyCats have several guys out tonight as well, including Seth Gudeman. Long throw, tipped and knocked away, and it looked like he almost redirected it. Chris Walsh with a nice hand on that. For a second, I thought, well, maybe he gave Ryan Wartenberg another shot at it, but Wartenberg did not. But Walsh with a nice play there.
Mechanics with yet another break opportunity. This point, it's been a long one.
Walsh just decides to put everything he has into that. It's caught, but what do we have?
Looks like a defensive foul, so Mechanics are going to be able to center this one on the goal line.
And that was Plager who caught it. Nathan Plager has to throw it from just outside his own goal line. Cat defense tries to set up in the red zone, and I don't know. Let's see here. I don't think everybody was set yet. Oh, they have to back up because I think now they're calling a foul on Detroit. So after the defensive contact foul against the Cats, we have a foul here against the Mechanics. So they have to back up. Mechanics trying to get the lead back. And did he stay in bounds? They say he did. What a job by Brendan Gessner to toe tap, stay in bounds, and grab the disc for his 11th goal of the year.
I didn't think that was going to be possible to come down with. Fantastic acrobatics from Gessner and a great throw from Joe Cubitt, the longtime Mechanics star, to put it where literally nobody else had a chance at it besides his teammate Gessner.
So that was the whole sequence we just showed you on screen there to set up the play by Gessner, and tip of the hat from Owen Woodward. This is only Owen's 3rd game. He had only played 2 games coming in. Again, a lot of new faces on this AlleyCat roster. Part of the reason why they are 2-8 this year. Mechanics are 1-8, but they got that monkey off their back last year. They had a losing streak of over 80 games, and they got that long win to break the streak against Pittsburgh, and then they beat Pittsburgh again this year. AlleyCats will be playing at home against Pittsburgh next week. And the Mechanics have 2 tough games after this one. They've got to play Chicago and Minnesota, the 2 teams that are at the top of the division. Chicago is a perfect 10-0 on the year as they lead the Central Division.
You have to start thinking about championship weekend if you're a Chicago Union fan. I could see them going all the way, John.
I could too. You and I talked about it when they came here. That's the best Chicago Union team I know I've seen. And I've been covering Ultimate since 2019. All right, looks like the shower has subsided. There was a pop-up shower on radar, so it looks like we might be done with it, but you never know. The disc there got deflected by someone. I couldn't quite tell who it was, but somebody from Detroit got a finger on it. And yet again, another AlleyCat turnover. And it is Detroit with the disc when we come back to start the second quarter. And Detroit also has the lead on WatchUFA.tv.
It's a normal day until the unthinkable.
Oh no!
The water heater has sprung a massive leak. But you're not worried. You have a direct line to Walt Waterman. Step aside, folks. We got this.
Thanks, Walt.
It's what we do. For all levels of residential plumbing repairs and service, call or text Winters Plumbing. We're called Winters Plumbing, but we serve every season.
Throw like a pro with a new Pro Ultimate Frisbee. Created with input from the sport's premier passers, the Pro Frisbee is specially designed to fly through the wind and maintain its edge. Experience the official Frisbee of the UFA and get yours at shopufa.com today.
Competitive matchup between two rivalries so far. It's been a cloudy, rainy day all throughout the day here in Indianapolis, and we've had a bit of rain that's come through in the first quarter. It's rained a little bit, then it stopped, and then it started again, then it stopped again. There's Coach Drew Shepard talking to one of his assistant coaches about trying to figure out a way to turn things around. So the Detroit Mechanix did get a stop on the AlleyCats to end the first quarter. So one thing you got to like, Kelsey, if you're the Mechanix, is the way this game has gone so far. AlleyCats took that 4-3 lead, but since then the Mechanix have kind of gotten what they've wanted.
Mechanix have been playing really well as a team. They put up a lot of great hucks as well, which we've talked about is one of their keys to success. Coach Brent Steep shared with us earlier that he just doesn't want the team to beat themselves tonight. Thus far, they've lived up to it. They've had confidence, just like he had hoped that they would have confidence under any circumstance. So Jake Felton having a heck of a game, David Cox, Connor Concannon. Mechanix looking pretty good tonight.
So the Mechanix got the disc to start the game, so that means the Cats get it to begin the second quarter. And the AlleyCats have really been playing from behind most of the way so far. You see the field is wet, the skies are cloudy. We've had pop-up, isolated, scattered showers and thunderstorms all day. And definitely being a factor here at Kuntz Stadium.
Hopefully the rain has subsided for the rest of the night.
Carson Chamberlain, the former mechanic, had the disc for a moment, then got it to Michael Ames. Ames in his 7th year with the AlleyCats, by the way, having hit one of his most productive seasons statistically. 11 assists and 3 goals after he had 4 goals in all of 2024, so he's still got time to surpass that goal number. Ames floats the disc out to Gall. Jack Gall, by the way, with the goal in that first period. Havey had 2 goals. And for the Mechanix, Connor Concannon has been the heavy factor so far with 2 of their 5 goals. And the disc floats out. Nice job there by Joel Close to chase it down. Into the end zone it goes. It's caught, but did he get in? Yes, he did! What a job by Chamberlain. Carson Chamberlain is able to keep it in bounds just enough and tightrope the sideline to tie the game.
I like the decision there from Joel Close to look off the first cut he had to the sideline. Didn't want to force anything. Holsters it just long enough to hit Carson Chamberlain, the former Mechanix player, who's having a great season in Indianapolis.
Yes, he is. And to add to that, 12 goals for him. He had 20 for Detroit last year. Brings a lot of experience. And again, lots of knowledge of how the Mechanix play. And the big thing is, with this being the 3rd time these two teams have played each other this year, you just wonder how much and what they're going to throw at each other that they haven't done before. Drew Hoppy with the pull for the AlleyCats. And picked up by Jake Felton. But Felton has been he's been more of a problem throwing the disc tonight than catching it. He's set up a couple of those big huck tries for Detroit. And of course, in typical Indiana weather, it was storming a few minutes ago. Now we got the sun out. That's how fast it changes here. Justin Wallen has the disc. Felton going for it all here. Might have Cubitt. And he does, but did he get in? Yes, Cubitt. We've seen some great type roping from both these teams, able to stay in bounds, and Cubitt, who started the game off with a goal for the Mechanix, gets another one here.
4th assist tonight for Felton, and he's just putting on a clinic in the handler space. So many hucks have gone his way tonight. He is 3rd all time in assists per game right now and 1st in huck completion percentage. This is, in the entire UFA. He's also 2nd in throwaways per game, so often lives or dies by the huck. Tonight, things going the Mechanix way.
And to that end, I mean, the way he threw it, it just felt like it was with such force that you're just thinking to yourself, oh, he doesn't care where this ends up. He's just he's just like, I'm putting pressure on you to guard it. If you do, great. If not, I don't care. We're going to score.
And to the AlleyCats' credit, they had 2 defenders in the deep space, but Felton just split the uprights. Joe Cubitt beat them with speed. Great look from the Mechanix.
So Felton is responsible for assisting 4 of their 6 scores. And AlleyCats yet again in a position where they have to play from behind. Gall floats this one out to Ames. Stall count is getting high on Ames, has to get rid of it and does. To Noah Wall. Cats playing it safe right here, but to be fair, there's nobody open right now. Now there is, and slicing free for the score, Cole Heiser gets into the end zone for the first time. He threw one in earlier. This time he gets it across, the 10th goal of the season for the 2nd-year man for the AlleyCats.
And there's our player to watch for Indianapolis. The Cats have been really excited about his development. He's been a solid handler for the team this season, but hey, he can make things happen in the cutter space as well. Mechanix set to receive again. Jake Felton has thrown 4 of the team's 6 goals this game, so the AlleyCats need to find an answer for Felton, and they need to find one quickly.
Maybe it starts with getting it away from him on the pole, not letting him do that.
And there he is.
Of course, as I say that, it goes right to him. Now, even with his arm, I don't think he can get the end zone from that far. But the Felton-Cubitt connection has kept the Mechanix in a lot of games as the defense chant ramps up for the AlleyCat fans. Wartenberg's putting on some good pressure there. Cubitt. Go ahead.
Both teams with only 1 break thus far this evening.
Yeah, that period in the first quarter where it was pouring down rain really made it hard for both teams. And he held on to it. What a diving play there made by Jake Felton to keep possession, fight for the disc in the end zone. Ingham is there. And so is his teammate to take it away. Well done there by Nicholas Betch. And he is telling his team, let's push it. Let's get it up the field.
Here's another break opportunity. We talked about both teams only having 1. Cats with the chance to get their 2nd break. And there's a whistle before that throw.
Is that a timeout if you're Drew Shepard you wish you had back? Because the timeout was called as the disc was getting launched, but no, I get it. Similar timeout that Coach Drew Steep called for Detroit in the first quarter. The AlleyCats are calling one here to get the lineup they want out on the field.
And I like this call, especially since they hadn't used a timeout up until this point. Get the O-line back out there, try to get that second break.
There's a look at that play that Nicholas Betch made, and that's got to be very encouraging if you're the Cats, as he took that one away from Connor Concannon. And that's another thing that's encouraging about that, because Connor Concannon had burned the AlleyCats twice in that first quarter. As you see Jack Havey having a conversation there with Noah Wall.
Let's see how the AlleyCats set this one up coming out of the timeout.
They've got Chamberlain out there, Havey, Wall. They've also put out Joel Close. Mechanix have Cameron Talagani out there. They also have put out Eric Olson. Olson's in his first year with Detroit. He's got a couple of blocks, so he's known primarily as a defensive player. Terry Gaither is playing there for the Mechanix. Again, looked like he might have hurt that hamstring earlier in the game, but he is out there and is okay. Throw towards the end zone, on target, and the AlleyCats retake the lead. As coming up big with that is Cole Heiser. Another game-changing play for Cole.
And there's that second break that's been evasive for Indianapolis. They get to take the lead there. Great throw by Jack Havey to hit his man Heiser in the end zone. Love the spike there from Cole.
It also felt like, too, there was a lot of communication between everybody on the field. Going into the timeout, coming out of the timeout, everything just felt aligned and right for the AlleyCats.
So to go back and answer that question, does Coach Shepard want that timeout back? I think he would answer, disc, don't lie. They get the score regardless.
Now, can their defense stand tall as Hoppy with the pull comes down to Cubitt. Cubitt able to get it to Justin Wallen. Wallen fakes it. Joey Carey is out there playing defense. The Cats also have him and Jason Kemp. Robbie Davenport out there as well. Davenport having a nice second year with the AlleyCats. He's got 3 blocks, 7 assists. Justin Perticone with the disc now. Gets rid of it to Felton.
And I've been surprised at how much time Joe Cubitt has spent in the cutting space today. He's really been making things happen downfield as opposed to handling like he normally does.
Wallen almost lost it. Then the disc got tipped there. And after all of that for the Mechanix, near tips, near turnovers, they get the score. David Cox gets it across for the goal.
And that was a great offensive possession from the Mechanix. Really worked the entirety of the field. It didn't force anything. And, you know, shockingly, no huck attempt on that point. Mechanix proving they can get it done either way.
All right, so now the AlleyCats get it back here. But this has been the way this game has gone. This game's either been tied, or the Mechanix have led by 1, or the AlleyCats have led by 1. There's been no change aside from that. And now we're going to be joined here by AlleyCat royalty. Joining us up here in the booth is Travis Carpenter. Travis, got your number retired tonight, got to do the ceremonial pull. How did that feel?
It was awesome. I mean, it's definitely like joined the team when I was 18 years old, so the AlleyCats have been a part of my entire adult life, which is just a crazy thing to say. So it's definitely something that's, you know, very near and dear to my heart, and so it's just special knowing that I was able to leave an imprint that's gonna, you know, be left somewhere forever now with the AlleyCats organization.
And you and I were talking about this before we got on the air about how young this team is, but you see a lot of growth potential here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, during my years, you know, we had a pretty clear class of players that was, you know, we're all within, you know, in terms of age, we were all within a few years of each other, and we kind of just through the seasons of the AlleyCats, we all kind of grew together and meshed together and got stronger and faster together, and we're able to slowly work our way up in the league until we were a force to be reckoned with. And so I see a lot of our previous players in these guys. I see that future, and I see the growth, the potential, and their talent and skill. And so I'm really excited about the future of the team and just seeing how these guys are going to grow together over the years, kind of like me and my friends did.
Yeah, and they've had a lot of obstacles to fight through tonight, especially with the rain.
Absolutely, yep. And to be honest with you, I feel like Detroit has really impressed me with the way that they've been playing through the rain. I think it's really easy, especially as the away team, when you get kind of blindsided with something like that, for it to rattle you. And I feel like they made some strategic adjustments, and they kind of tried to play the yardage game to their advantage, and try to take some shots so that even if they didn't connect, worst case scenario was at least they pinned us really far back. And so I think they've been pretty clever so far, but I'm feeling confident in our guys. I'm feeling confident regardless, and I think the nice weather is only going to help us.
Well, one thing you got to feel confident in right there is Jack Havey. He just got his 3rd goal of the night.
Jack Havey is a dog. He is that dude is really good at Frisbee, and so he's pretty much unstoppable whenever he wants to be. I always remember when the past seasons that I've played with him, it's just trying to tell him, man, hey, go out there and take over. Like, you are a very good player. Like, no one is as fast as you out here. Just get out there and take over and be confident. When he does, man, he just torches people.
Well, he leads the game in goals this evening, so he's starting to take over that cutting space. Travis, has been hard to be on the sideline this year after so many years in the league.
It has. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I miss it like crazy, and I still work out all the time and stuff. And so a lot of times when I'm doing my workouts at home and I'm biking, I'm running and stuff, sometimes I still almost have that, that like competitive spirit as I'm training, as if I'm training for a game. And then sometimes it's like, it can be a little sad to remember, oh yeah, I'm not really training for a game, like just purely my own health and fitness. So it's sad, but at the same time, like I have no regrets at all. And, it was something that was necessary for my family. And, I'm learning that a baby definitely takes up a lot of your time.
Joining us right now up in the booth as the AlleyCats get the disc back here is Travis Carpenter, who used to play for the AlleyCats ever since their inaugural year, 2012, and now you're a part of the ownership side. What does that entail, Travis? For those who are watching and don't quite know, what all are your responsibilities on the ownership side?
Yeah, I bought into the team as an owner back in 2020, but we all kind of agreed that when I bought in that I could help out somewhat in the off season and be a part of the meetings, but in reality that once the preseason started, once the season started, I was just a player and I had to focus on that. And so I felt like my contribution to ownership was fairly minimal the past few years, and so this year was really my first opportunity to really step into, take on more responsibilities and really step into a more full ownership role. And I do a lot of things with trying to help get the word out about the AlleyCats. I try to come up with new ideas of ways we can spark interest and just get our name out to the city. Today, even I showed up at 3 o'clock today, and I was on the game day staff, so I was setting up all the cones and I'm setting up the advertising signs and all that. So just trying to plug and play anywhere I can to help.
Sam Ingham was the one who just scored that last goal. What do you think about the way he's been playing lately, Travis?
I'm really liking watching this guy play. He's one of the guys I'm watching this year, and I'm just bummed that I didn't get to play with him because he looks real good. Obviously, he's tall, and he's one of those tall guys that doesn't really move like a tall guy. He still runs like he's 6 foot or under, even though he's over 6 foot. And so anytime you got a player like that has the agility of a 5'10" guy, but they're however tall he is, 6'2", 6'3", or whatever, like those guys are always real dangerous on the ultimate field. So it's been exciting to watch him play.
Almost reminds me of Rick Gross over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be pretty amazing if Sam could churn out some numbers that Rick was doing. All of us would absolutely love to see that.
And the AlleyCats just got their 3rd break of the game. Mechanix only have 1 by comparison, so Cats starting to make the adjustments that they need to do.
What is it about playing a team like Detroit, Travis? Especially, it feels like they have nothing to lose, and so it almost puts more pressure on their opponent sometimes.
Oh, it absolutely does. There's no question about that. You definitely sometimes, especially whenever things aren't going right, it's a double-edged sword, because when things are going right and you're beating them by a few points, it feels very easy, and it feels like, yeah, we're doing what we're supposed to, and then you kind of get in a groove, and you know, you feel like you kind of coast to the rest of the game. But if they can kind of rattle you early and they can, you know, keep the game close, then absolutely you're right. You start to get a little nervous and shaky, and it makes you start second guessing some of your throws, because then the mindset, it's really easy to get caught in the mindset of, well, I don't want to be the guy that messes it up. You know, then that can feel like a lot of pressure.
Matthew Weaver gets his first score of the night as he comes down with his 4th goal of the year. And Travis, ever since you've come up in the booth, AlleyCats are starting to separate themselves a little bit.
All right, I'm never leaving. I'm staying.
Well, it looks like, too, to start the game, Coach Shepard mentioned about limiting their huck tries, and as you saw, Detroit was getting a lot of those hucks early. They're not getting them as much, and the AlleyCats seem to have turned some things around there.
Absolutely. I mean, I stand by this. I think we're one of the best coached teams in the entire league. And so hats off to those guys, the adjustments that they make. Obviously, I played under them, and now I'm watching them from afar and seeing, you know, the big picture and some of the things that they're doing and the adjustments they're making. And it's always really cool to watch, and I'm sure it stinks being on the other team, having to receive the other end of that when you got a coaching staff that's constantly just playing some chess and, you know, putting obstacles in front of you and making your life difficult out there on the field.
Travis Carpenter, our guest right now, former AlleyCat, now part of the AlleyCat ownership group. And, you know, Travis, have you talked to the coaching staff and the players? I know that when you're 2-8, you don't have the record you want, but it's almost like you've got to play the long game too. What kind of words of encouragement do you offer the players?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't really talked a whole lot to the players. There's a few of them that I would say I'm still friends with, whether, you know, Frisbee or not. And so, you know, I talk with those guys sometimes. But really, I haven't been around practices. I haven't been up close to the sideline during games. I've kind of kept my distance, and part of that's intentional. You know, I really wanted them to feel like it's their time to step up and take control and ownership of this team. But also, you know, again, I've just been very busy with a baby, and so usually my time at the games and any AlleyCats events is very limited. And so I've tried to really keep it focused to the business side of things this year and to the ownership side. So I haven't really got to say too much, but I'm looking forward to, you know, at the end of the year we always do surveys and feedback and have some more communication, and so I'm looking forward to catching up with coaches and players. And I've definitely been in their shoes before, situations like this, and so I'm hoping that maybe I have some words of wisdom and encouragement for them that can help them, you know, propel themselves into next year.
Before our first home game this season, I got to chat with Seth Gudeman a little bit, who was talking about the rebuilding season, and something that he said he told the younger guys was, you know, once upon a time, Travis was the kid on the team. Travis was the new guy with no experience, and look what happened. So he's using you for encouragement to the team.
That's awesome. That's pretty cool to hear. That's awesome.
Cameron Talagani had that last score for Detroit. Cats trying to close the half strong. Looks like the rain has dissipated, and we have not had any since the start of the second quarter. So the conditions have calmed down a little bit. Carson Chamberlain has it, getting it up to close into the end zone. Wide open man, and there it is again, Cole Heiser. Heiser with now his 3rd score of this second quarter, and the AlleyCats really starting to feel it.
You can see the energy building. I mean, their posture's different. They're getting more excited. Their confidence is growing. I mean, this is some great energy we're seeing from the Cats right now. I think just as much physical, they're getting a mental edge right now over Detroit. I think their fitness has been really impressive too. You know, early in the game, everyone was pretty much stride for stride, but these last several points we've been watching, I feel like there's been multiple times where I see 1 or 2 AlleyCats guys with no one within 5 to 10 yards of them just because they're nonstop running. And so a lot of times, you know, fitness can be a major factor and sometimes can win you a game in itself. So hats off to them. They've clearly been working their butts off in the gym.
It definitely feels like the momentum has shifted here late in the second quarter. And there's another look at Cole Heiser, our player to watch for this evening. Cats outscoring the Mechanix 6-3 this quarter.
Yeah, this is one thing that Coach Brent Steed for Detroit told us before the game was he feels like he can stay with a lot of these teams through the first 3 quarters and then the fourth quarter's been dissipating. But if the Cats can get to them earlier and continue this onslaught, that might break Detroit's spirit. That's what their hope is anyway. Ryan Wartenberg's got it. Now does Davenport. AlleyCats forcing another Detroit mistake, trying to capitalize on it here. Joey Carey goes to the other side to get that. Carey has to wheel it back out to Landry. You know, the Detroit Mechanic red zone defense hasn't been too bad here, but the Cats have beaten it with patience when they've needed to. Landry's looking around, stall count getting high, still outside the end zone. Weaver tries to get it in and does. Back to Landry, so the AlleyCat patience really pays off there for him.
What a grab. That had to be some quick reactions right there. Those can be tough right there when you have to toe the line and the disc is only in the air for about a half a second. You got almost no time to react. Nice work, Landry.
And we've had quite a few grabs on that sideline specifically tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but both teams seem to really, really like that area of the field.
So Travis, with time ticking down in the second quarter here, if you were in the huddle at halftime, what would you tell your guys?
I mean, I think number one is that you cannot let your foot off the gas in terms of how hard you're running right now. I think when all else fails, if you're more in shape than the other team, and you can just run them into the ground, that's the number one thing that you can control. Sometimes you might not have your throwing accuracy as might not be as strong as from one game to the next. You might have times where maybe your mental game's a little bit off, you're feeling a little down or whatever, but the one thing you can always control is how hard you work. And so with what I'm seeing right now, it looks like we are the team that's more fit, and that's just something you can't let go of. You just got to keep that dominance and just keep running them into the ground.
We've also seen, as you know, Travis, over the years, a lot of crazy things happen near the end of quarters.
Absolutely.
I believe a teammate of yours named Cam Brock was good at making a few of those plays.
Absolutely. That can always be an interesting halftime huddle, because that can really it can be really easy to hang your head even if you had a great quarter, but then they score a big final shot to pull them within a couple goals. Sometimes you can let that make it. You can almost let it get in your head and make it feel as though you had an unsuccessful quarter when that's not reality. And so you got to be careful to really analyze the full quarter and as a whole whenever you get back into that locker room, not just hang your head about the fact they made a last-second hero play.
They're trying to do that here are the Mechanics. We're down to 10 seconds to go. They're getting closer and closer. Justin Perticone looked like he was about to throw it towards the end zone, but nothing there. But he just made himself free to catch it and get the goal down right before the horn sounds. So Detroit does get that last second goal, but they trail 12-9 going into the locker room. Travis Carpenter, former AlleyCat player, now AlleyCat owner. Travis, thank you so much for joining us here for a little bit in the second quarter, my man. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys. Pleasure.
All right, when we come back, we'll have second half action here from Coots Stadium. Cats lead the Mechanics on WatchUFA.tv.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy. We're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Googman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Googman House. Learn more at GoogmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Googman House Brewing.
players on the team this year. That's shaping probably something new. Like you didn't know what to expect with this chemistry. How are you feeling about that chemistry?
As far as chemistry, when you've got this much of a group that's unfamiliar with one another, you have to lean into what I would coin artificial chemistry. So traditional chemistry is how you and I have known each other and played together for a decade. Artificial chemistry, I believe, can still be valuable, but that looks more like we are going to be fairly rigid at the beginning about our system and where we go and when I can expect you to be there, because that's going to breed confidence. If I know for sure where you're going to be, that breeds confidence in me, and that can generate what we call artificial chemistry. Hopefully what that builds is a natural chemistry, which can evolve from that. But we've got to lean into what we have right now, which is discipline and system, and hope that that kind of takes root and germinates some kind of real chemistry.
Maybe talk about natural grass over turf.
I personally love playing in natural grass over turf. When you lay out on natural grass, a lot of times you stand up feeling just fine. On turf, it feels like anytime I lay out, I'm picking up little nicky-knack injuries, whether it's a turf burn or a sprain or an ache or a bruise or something. So personally, I love natural grass, love the way it feels under the cleats. I think you can expect to see, especially at like a well-maintained field like Kuntz, you won't see any difference in performance that sometimes can be brought about by natural grass versus turf. I think that all you're gonna see is players more willing to lay out, players more willing to take chances on discs because they know there's a softer cushion when they land.
Disc in your life, like what was it attracted you to that piece of plastic?
Well, first I learned to throw at camp. I learned to throw at camp of Michigan. And then I started playing my freshman year at College of Charleston, and I think it was the people. My team name, it was the College of Charleston Bums. We're the Charleston Bums, and I just embodied that bum energy, you know? We were just goofy kids. We were just goofy kids having fun, and that really I came to a school where I didn't know a single person, found these Frisbee guys, and I was like, I think that these are gonna be my best friends. And then moved to Louisville and got involved with a club team, and I knew some of those guys played pro and didn't really know about it, and that's how I ended up meeting the AlleyCats through some Louisville folks that play, and yeah, found the team that way.
Did you know, like, man, I'm really good at this. I think I could go take the next level and pick up this club or against pro or because whatever. You know, when did that happen for you?
Yeah, I was never great at throwing to begin with. It was weird for me. Like I said, I played baseball, so switching the arm movement instead of up high going down to the side was a little weird. But I was a pretty good athlete in high school, and I had this big dude, the Serbian guy in high school, who had played in Serbia before he came to my high school. And he picked me freshman year. He was like, oh, I like this kid because I could catch. And he knew that when it came down to it, he could just send it out there, I'll go get it. And so that's when I was like, all right, pretty good. I became captain. I was like, all right, I want to do this in college. And then in college, I was like, I could maybe play pro here. I want to try to do it. And eventually made it happen. And so here we are, 4 years later now.
What's the difference between playing indoors, outdoors, and how does that affect the team?
Yeah, obviously weather will play a big factor between when it comes to outdoors versus indoors, but I'm excited for that for us, really. I think it gives our defense opportunity, obviously, to let the conditions play and shows the skilled offensive guys to make plays despite the weather. So I'm really excited for Kuntz, really. I've heard from the guys that have played there how exciting that place is, how it's close to a lot of our fans. I'm really hoping to have a packed house and a great energy at our games.
Why did you stay with Ultimate, though? Of all the other sports to play, why Ultimate?
Well, on my freshman year coming in, I knew how to throw. So a lot of the players that were rookies didn't have the forehand throw, and I was kind of good at it. I was kind of like good at Frisbee, and I was like, I've never been good at soccer, basketball, and was okay at lacrosse, and it was the first sport where I really actually enjoyed playing it so much and kind of succeeded at it, kind of played well, actually.
Can you talk about the offensive system a little bit?
Yeah. So, this year we're going to be, I think, much more of an aggressive style offense. We're going to be willing and looking to move the disc vertically downfield more. So you should expect to see some bigger shots and fast pace though. So we're going to be moving quickly, and I think it really plays well into the skill set of the guys that are on the team this year.
So it'll highlight what we're good at, and should make it fun for the fans too.
Wildcats. Why do you want to play pro?
Yeah. In the club season, as a member of leadership, a lot of my effort and energy goes into, mentoring young guys, developing strategies for the team as a whole. So my time with the AlleyCats, I get to lock in on me a little bit more, focus on my own development as a player, and it's just fun. I mean, like, playing in front of fans is not something that you get to do in club, so getting to do that is a big part of it as well.
What's the best part of your game?
I've always been a defensive player. I think, like I said, my speed, athleticism really helped me out with that stuff, and I'd really like to bring that onto the offensive side. I think that the same reasons I'm good at defense could be helpful on the offensive side, and I'm looking forward to improve my disc skills and really bring it up to the next level, because I think I could be pretty deadly on that side too.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy, we're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Googman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Googman House. Learn more at GoogmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Googman House Brewing.
Back here at Coons Stadium in Indianapolis, and the Indianapolis AlleyCats have overcome a deficit. They trailed 5-4 after the first quarter, but they outscored the Mechanix 8-4 in that second frame. Along with Kelsey Sparks, I'm John Herrick. Thank you for being with us on WatchUFA.tv. A look at the first half stats. And Kelsey, we talked about how important O-line conversion and D-line conversion is. But look at the difference in the AlleyCats, much better than Detroit on the D-line conversions. And the AlleyCats had 9 turnovers in the first quarter, but none in the second quarter. So that really helps break down the defensive numbers for the AlleyCats, and why I think they were able to turn this game around.
That it really was a tale of 2 quarters for the AlleyCats. I mean, quarter number 1, the teams looked very evenly matched. There was only 1 break each for that entire quarter. And quarter number 2, when the elements kicked in, it started raining pretty hard. The AlleyCats really started to develop more confidence, and those gaps you see in the statistics, they really happened in the second quarter.
Also, it'll be interesting to see how the Detroit Mechanix were able to score when they're not hucking it. 7 out of 9 points have come on huck tries, and this is how they got the game going early. It was Joe Cubitt who caught the first score of the game from Felton, and Felton scored, he assisted on 4 of their first 6 points, did Jake Felton, who's really taken the UFA by storm, at least statistically. And then the AlleyCats, though, were able to come back. We had a lot of rain fall in a short amount of time, which caused the disc to be dropped quite a bit by both teams. But then once the AlleyCats settled in, they were able to make some plays there. That right side of the end zone that you're seeing, for some reason, that's been a hot place to be tonight, hasn't it, Kelsey?
It has been. We've seen, I think, 3 toe touch grabs there. That was another one in that same corner, not quite a toe touch. Now we're seeing Cole Heiser getting into the end zone 3 times. He was our player to watch for the AlleyCats.
And then also Sam Ingham really making a play there, too. Another thing, too, Kelsey, a lot of these young players, as Talagani came down with a nice huck there for Detroit. When you look at the roster for the AlleyCats, a lot of second-year players or third-year players, guys that are really, they've been sitting on the bench learning a lot underneath guys like Rick Gross and Travis Carpenter and Levi Jacobs, all guys who have had their jerseys retired. Travis, of course, was with us in the second quarter, and he got to do the ceremonial first pull. But this is, the AlleyCats are one of the inaugural teams, one of the longest heralded teams in the UFA, what was, of course, formerly the AUDL. The AlleyCats have been here since 2012. They know what the key to longevity is, and sometimes you're going to have some down years. And I wouldn't say, yes, record-wise it's been down, but as the season has gone on, the progress has definitely gone up, and it doesn't hurt. It doesn't help that you have to play the Chicago Union. That's one of the toughest things that you have to do. The Union and the Wind Chill are in your division. I mean, that's just the way it goes. So you've got 2 tough opponents that you got to play in your division for both these teams, and that's only going to help build you for the future.
And with such a young roster, the future's bright for Indianapolis. Like Travis Carpenter was telling us earlier, he really sees great things on the horizon for this team. And like you said, the AlleyCats have been around since 2012. They made it to the championship game that year, losing to the Philadelphia Spinners, a team that's not around any longer.
Speaking of teams that are around, here are some upcoming games to watch. For Watch UFA, you got Philadelphia taking on New York. That's tomorrow at 1. Of course, the Minnesota Wind Chill in action on Friday the 18th. And the New York Empire, they are always a team to watch in the UFA. So they will be in action as well on Saturday the 19th of July. That's a look at what's coming up in UFA action. Of course, you can get all of the UFA games on watchufa.tv. Watchufa.com is the website where you can go. So, and looking at Cole Heiser's numbers, Kelsey, that you mentioned, the all-around aspect of his game has really been making a difference lately, getting free to score. He's now got 12 goals on the year. He is in double-digit categories season-wide in all of these numbers, more than 20 assists, more than 10 goals, more than 11 blocks now. And then those are a little bit of the numbers you saw for him on this evening. Go ahead, sorry.
He came into this game leading the AlleyCats in assists and total yards. So I was expecting him to throw a lot of scores, but I guess the Mechanix were too, because he's just going and getting it done downfield. Heiser's having a heck of a game. Glad he's our player to watch.
I got to say, Drew Hoppy has been really doing a heck of a job with these pulls. He's been pinning the Mechanix bat deep. AlleyCat fan defense chant has really been a lot louder than usual, and a good job there to react by the Mechanix. Might lead to a huck try. Felton battling it out with Hoppy, and Felton is able to hold him off and get the score to begin the second half, and that brings the Mechanix fans to life.
Mechanix getting it back within 2 to start the second half, and I'm sure Coach Brent Steep had quite a few words of wisdom for his team at the halftime break, hoping to see the Mechanix look a little more like that first quarter team. You know, Coach Steep told us we have some great quarters where we can keep up with anyone. We just haven't been able to put 4 in a row yet.
So Detroit 1-8 on the year. The AlleyCats 2-8. Both of the AlleyCats wins have come against Detroit. AlleyCats will try to close the regular season next week with a win over the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds. By the way, one of the coolest things that we got to do in Indianapolis, Kelsey and I were both a part of it, the Thunderbirds and the AlleyCats did a halftime showcase at Lucas Oil Stadium during an Indianapolis Colts game when the Colts were playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm just saying, Colts won that game that day, so maybe they ought to think about having the AlleyCats back to that.
That would be great to get back out there and showcase Ultimate to 60,000 plus fans in the NFL.
Also, too, the radio voice of the Indianapolis Colts, Matt Taylor, was a broadcaster for the AlleyCats when the AlleyCats first came around in 2012. The AlleyCats played their home games at one point at Roncalli High School, where both Matt and I graduated from. So, AlleyCats have been a part of our lives for a long time. What a knockaway there by Cameron Talagani. So Cameron has scored a goal there earlier in the game, which you saw in the highlights. Then he just comes up with a knockdown. Gregory Marino has got it near the sideline, but he's trapped, and that one gets tipped up and stolen away. What a play by Jack Gall. He gets the knockaway and then comes down with it. So this third quarter is starting in a very similar way to the first quarter. Chamberlain's got it now. Finding Wall, Noah Wall stepping back, looking, throwing it up, and Chamberlain's able to shake free of his defender and score for Indianapolis.
I liked the movement there from the AlleyCats O-line, headed up the field. Carson Chamberlain gets that score. Again, the former mechanic, and he's having a great season in Indianapolis. We're starting off 1-1, just like you said, John. Feels more like the first quarter.
You could also argue that there was contact there by Anthony Grigoletti. It looked like he kind of pushed off on Chamberlain, but didn't matter. Chamberlain was able to get free, and this is the one thing you love about the AlleyCat coaching staff. The coaching does not stop. They work with these guys coming to the sideline, coming away from the sideline, into the locker room, out of the locker room.
Travis Carpenter shared with us earlier, he really believes that the AlleyCats have some of the best, if not the best, coaches in the UFA.
I would agree with that. And a big reason why is because I think Drew Shepard is a guy that does not, when you talk to him, so much of what he's saying is not about emotion, it's about facts. It's, hey, let's minimize our numbers to this. Let's do this, this, and this. And a lot of it's just not about, it's not about emotion or flair. It's about goals and expectations and a lot of things that are tangible. And the players seem to be responding to that. Joseph Cubitt, now Perdicone's got it. Perdicone made that big play earlier in this quarter where he caught a pass. It looked like it was about to be dropped. And makes another nice grab here.
That was probably the craziest toe touch that I've ever personally witnessed at a game.
We've had about 3 or 4 of them tonight. And another Mechanix squeaking free for the score. This time it is Brendan Gessner, and Gessner is in the end zone for the second time tonight.
Kick spike celebration as they get back within 2. Everybody is on serve this quarter. That means that the offensive lines have held every time they've been on the field. Both teams have struggled with O-line conversion percentage this season. AlleyCats had a tough go of it in Madison last time, dropping them to second to last in offensive conversion rate for the league. Tonight, though, converting a little over 50%.
Well, I also think people have to remember this too. A lot of people in the UFA will look at their numbers and go, well, their offensive conversion rate is normally higher. Yes, but you have to remember now they're playing their games outdoors. They're not playing indoors like they were at Grand Park, and they basically have a whole new roster from last year's team to this year. So it's the conversion rate is going to drop a little bit.
Yeah, even the guys on the AlleyCats that have been on the team 2-3 years, I mean, they weren't getting as many reps when you have Cameron Brock, Travis Carpenter, Rick Gross, those guys. I mean, you had your starting 7+ that retired or moved away. So these guys are really having to step up, next man up this season.
AlleyCats being a lot more patient with it. It's been really a tale of 2 different philosophies here. The Detroit Mechanix have tried to live and die by the huck a lot in this game, whereas the AlleyCats have been more deliberate and using the clock.
Not a bad thing to use the clock when you're up, knocking on the door of being up 3.
Jack Havey playing catch with Chamberlain. Really interesting to hear Travis Carpenter talk about how much he likes Havey's play. Ames looking around. Trying to get free. Chamberlain in the end zone again. Swatted away. Nicely done by Trey Cook. And Cook might have pulled something here while he's up. Looks like he's holding his chest, but Trey Cook just made a nice defensive play. A former AlleyCat himself. He was here back in 2023, and he just got his 4th block of the season. What a play this was.
Great play there from Trey Cook. You hate to see him go off the field with an injury. Hopefully he's all right, but that's another young athletic player that the Mechanix are really excited about. It worked out well for them that he moved up to Michigan.
And also, too, keep in mind, it is very humid tonight. We've had humidity, we've had storms, we've had sunshine, we've had just your classic normal Indiana July weather day. Gaither's trying to catch up to that, and it's well out of his reach. He dives for it. Well, good to see that his hamstring wasn't bothering him very much there. It looked like it was earlier in the game, but he tried to make a diving attempt on it, but that gives the disc back to Indianapolis.
And you said it's well out of his reach while the disc was in the air, and it was, but oh my, he closed some ground. It was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be after that heroic effort.
And that disc went soaring awkwardly through the air. Not sure if it was dropped or what, but now Felton gets to pick it up. That's the guy you want to have it in this situation. Now Tallaghaney's got it. Felton trying to get it in the end zone again, and it's bobbled and not held on to. Dropping it was Connor Concannon, and that is something he hardly ever does. He's already been in the end zone several times tonight, but could not hang on.
Completely uncharacteristic of Concannon. He leads the team in catching those goals, and he immediately told Felton, hey, that's on me, that's on me. Let's see if he can make a play to get the disc back.
And that is a monster play, because you're talking the AlleyCats score here, they go up 3. You could have cut it to 1, so that's possibly a 3-point swing if the AlleyCats can punch it in.
That would have been an incredible break for the Mechanix. Point's not over, though. They could still make it happen.
It's been rainy tonight. The field has been wet. Kelsey and I were down there before the game. It was not easy for these players to practice in these conditions, let alone play in it. And we had a torrential downpour in the second quarter. Both teams have had to fight that off. Jack Gall's got it. Stall count getting a little high there. Able to dump it off to Michael Ames. Outside to Chamberlain. Someone going to help Chamberlain out. He's looking for it.
Cats in the red zone. They've been converting at 57% tonight.
Havey looking, fires, caught, score. Cats push the lead up to 3. Number 1-3 with the catch there, Cole Heiser, who continues to put together a fantastic evening here as he's in for the 4th time.
And after a very dramatic point that could have gone either way, it could have been a very pivotal point in this game, the AlleyCats are able to come away with the hold. And again, there's Cole Heiser, goal number 4. He's having a heck of a game this evening.
I guess the thing is, Kelsey, from my perspective, we've seen guys get unexplainably wide open when it looks like the defense is going to hold. What do you think is the reason for that? Because we've seen it happen on both sides.
I think communication and timing of your cuts. So that was a really well-timed cut by Cole Heiser to get him open on the sideline there. And then we've had some miscommunications defensively from both teams, especially on some of those hucks. So it's a number of things, but another thing Travis pointed out is just fitness. He told us that if he were in the huddle at halftime with the AlleyCats, he would tell them to keep running hard because he believes they look like the more physically fit team right now. And, hey, fitness gets you open too.
Mechanics try to settle down. Chris Walsh got it. Walsh had a couple of nice defensive plays in that first half. And there's that defensive chant there for the AlleyCats. Another thing I wanted to ask you, Kelsey, Coach Brent Steep alluded to this possibly in our pregame talk with him. He said that Detroit might throw some new stuff that the AlleyCats haven't seen yet. Do you think he's done very much of that?
I think we've seen quite a few different looks from Detroit, honestly, both on offense and defense. So right now, notably, there's no Jake Felton on offense. They don't need him. They get the score.
Get the score anyway, at least on this try. And it was Justin Perticone who got it done there for Detroit.
No, that's a great question, though, because like I mentioned earlier, we're so used to seeing Joe Cubit just commanding that handler space. And this game, he has really spent a lot of time in the cutter space. That's a look that we haven't seen often. Defensively, they've done a good job of pressuring the AlleyCats. We've seen some zone and some person. So Coach Brent Steep has some tricks up his sleeve still, I'm sure.
Nathan Plager getting credit for that assist, and Nicholas Akers conducting the pull here for Detroit. He was a last-minute addition, so if you go onto the Watch UFA website and you look at the rosters for both teams, what they'll show is they'll show some players being active, other players being not rostered or out. Well, or another category is dressed. Well, Akers was dressed, but he was not considered active until right before the game when Coach Brent Steep realized that Gabe DeBrozzi was not going to play. So then Akers gets to move up into the lineup, and that's some pretty good opening pulls. Cats lead it by 2. They have led by as many as 4 when they led 12-8. They now lead it 14-12, led by 3 at half, and the Mechanics led by 1 at the end of the first quarter. But like most typical AlleyCat Mechanics games, there's been a lot of twists and turns to it. Huck try here. I think the disc might have gotten tipped. Either that or he just didn't get any air underneath it. So Eric Olson gets an early Christmas present, but then the Mechanics give it right back.
That was a big opportunity for the Mechanics. You can't let that one slip away. Cats now get to pick it up in the red zone.
And that has got to be devastating. You had the drop by Concannon, which was so uncharacteristic, and then you give it right back to Indianapolis after you had an interception.
And that's just what we've talked about with the Mechanics beating themselves. I mean, they've had some great opportunities tonight that they need to cash in on. You can't let those slip away.
Chamberlain to the other side. Gall. Mechanics have always seemed to be putting a taller defender on Jack Gall whenever they've had the chance. This time it was Akers who's guarding him.
Well, it's almost impossible to beat Jack Gall with speed, so I guess just put somebody taller than him on.
And Jack Havey with a nifty throw right to Joel Close. And Close tight ropes the sideline and gets in for Indianapolis.
Cats extending that lead to 3 after, again, another drama-filled point where the Mechanics had a break chance, and you see them lose it right here. AlleyCats able to settle themselves, regain that confidence, and get the hold.
Those are the 2 biggest points of the quarter, I think. Off the drop and then the drop in the end zone there.
Both of those go in, and it's a tie game.
Weird thing is, though, it doesn't feel like the Mechanics are out of it with the way they've played tonight.
No, it does not. Especially after seeing both teams go blow for blow in that first quarter. I mean, it's only a 3-point game. Plenty of time left on the clock.
On this hot, humid, and stormy Saturday night in Indianapolis, Detroit trying to get their second win of the season and their first win against the AlleyCats since 2012. AlleyCats trying to go to 3-8 and beat their nemesis, who always seems to give them fits, for the 3rd time this year. Perticone looking around. Gessner's got it. Mechanics, I think, wanted a foul call there. They don't get it. Felton going for it all. Might have his man, but it's going to be a foot race Jason Kemp appears to be there, and he comes down with it. Jason Kemp.
Great play there by Kemp to get position, box out David Cox, and come away with that big stop on D.
Ryan Wartenberg and the AlleyCats try to take advantage, and Owen Woodward almost dropped it, but held on. Able to get it to close to Ingham, and Sam Ingham on the other side makes himself available, and the AlleyCats back on top by 4.
And the AlleyCats take advantage of that break opportunity, and they make quick work of it, extending their lead, the largest lead of the night, or tied for it rather. And fantastic throw there from Ben Close. Both of the Close brothers making an impact tonight, Ben and Joel.
Ingham's definitely a player to build around, I think. He's now got double-digit goals on the year. His first goal in the second half. So he has really made an impression on me, I think.
Especially being a rookie. I mean, he is frequently in the right spot. That's something that, typically comes with time. He has played well on both the offensive and defensive lines. He's really just adapted to anything and everything that Coach Shepard has asked him to do. I am extremely impressed with Sam Ingham as well.
His other goal came in that second quarter, and he had a highlight reel play against the Chicago Union earlier in the year. Now, of course, that disc got tipped but nearly stolen. However, Detroit has it, but then they don't. It was dropped. Nathan Plager, I think, thought he had a man and then didn't.
Looks like a miscommunication there for the Mechanix, and that could prove to be very costly. You talk about the commentator's curse. We had just said that it was going to be super tight, back and forth, blows to blows, and then the Cats break immediately after and a chance to break again.
By the way, despite a lot of the drops, neither team has used a timeout in this second half, and sometimes you'll see that happen where you call a timeout to get your right line out. What a play there to grab the disc when it looked like he was going to be out of it, and then the throw is not held on to by Joey Carey. He was, I think, sliding a little bit before that. It was a tough play.
Yeah, the throw just got away from him. A lot of Ultimate players would call that the conservation of greatness. So Chope made the great grab there, but then threw it away.
Mechanix trying to get back in it, and they do. They make quick work of the AlleyCat mistake, and they get back within 3 right before the quarter comes to an end. It's Felton getting in this time. So Jake Felton started off this quarter with a score. Now he gets this score, and the assist goes to Chris Walsh.
And Felton has just been a machine tonight for the Mechanix, throwing 6 goals as well. Heck of a game from him, and the AlleyCats haven't quite found an answer for him yet.
That's the thing too. Even teams that have better records have had a hard time finding an answer for Jake Felton. So the Mechanix have a rising star in the UFA with Jake Felton here.
And this is only his 21st game as a pro. He came into tonight tied for 4th in the league in assists after adding 6 to his total. I mean, we'll see what everybody else does this week, but I bet he's knocking on number 2.
Cats only have a few seconds to work with here. Heaving it towards the end zone, play on it. Tipped up and comes down with it. Carson Chamberlain is able to come down with the disc for the goal right as the quarter comes to an end. The former Detroit Mechanic does it to the Mechanix.
I think we've had a crazy end of quarter play in every single home game this year. Talk about cardiac cats. Carson Chamberlain, great heads up play to come away from the pack with the disc.
Certainly worth another look as we go to the 4th quarter. AlleyCats 17, Mechanix 13. You're watching Ultimate Action on WatchUFA.tv.
We're Carp Homes. Let us take the pain out of selling your home. We pay cash for your house as is. You don't touch a thing. Leave all repairs and cleanup to us. Homegrown right here in Indy, we're local and reputable, and we care about our city and neighbors. Our team comes to meet with you in person to evaluate your property, resulting in getting you the best possible offer. Call Carp Homes today or visit our website to learn more.
Welcome to Googman House, a locally owned, award-winning, and family-friendly microbrewery and coffee house located just northwest of downtown Indy. With over 20 delicious beers brewed on site, from hazy IPAs and fruited sours to the best-selling Guggenweizen and Hefeweizen and Riverside Hazy IPA. Pick your own flight of beers, order your grub from the cabin kitchen, and enjoy a day in the beer garden. We invite you to experience Googman House. Learn more at GoogmanHouseBrewing.com and follow along on Instagram at Googman House Brewing.
Well, fireworks to end that third quarter. Carson Chamberlain comes down with the disc, and the AlleyCats extend their lead to 4, 17-13. It's the highest it's been all night. It was 12-8 in that second quarter. The Mechanix got it to as close as 2. They had several opportunities to get within 1 or possibly tie it in that third period, but they just made a few mistakes, and the AlleyCats are in position. Turnovers have been a factor. The Mechanix have 18, the AlleyCats with 14. Hucking has kept Detroit in this game. They are 8 of 13 on huck tries, so 8 of their 13 scores have come off hucks. Their offensive line conversion at 57%. Out to the AlleyCats 50%, but the AlleyCats have a higher completion percentage at 95% and a higher hold percentage at 85%. Those have been the big difference makers in this game so far for the Cats. In this game of rivals, 2 of the longest tenured teams in the UFA.
Another notable stat that I'm eyeing here is that the Mechanix break percentage is only 8%. They have only broken the AlleyCats 1 time despite having 13 opportunities. And, you know, we watched a couple tough turnovers that were self-inflicted in that third quarter.
Right.
So Mechanix gonna have to get some breaks on the board if they want back in this one.
And some of that is due a little bit to the weather. There's a man wide open in the end zone. Did he get it? Yes, he was able to get it without it touching the ground, and the AlleyCats extend their lead. This time it is Jack Gall, who is having a phenomenal third season with Indianapolis.
Cats make a quick 24-second point. Quick work of that one. Joel close to Jack Gall, and I liked the speed with which that Cats O-line took care of business.
Gall had a goal in the first quarter and also now one here in the fourth quarter. And they've tried to put, like we've said, taller guys on him to try to stop him. But Jack has been able to make himself available. Another thing you got to give the Cats credit for on defense, by the way, have been the blocks. They have 10 blocks in this game. And Coach Drew Shepard said before the game he wanted to keep the turnover numbers way lower than they have been. So it's no secret that part of the reason they've been 2-8 this year has been the fact that they've turned the disc over too much. They've had turnover numbers as high as in the 30s. Tonight they have 14 turnovers, but 9 of those 14 came in the first quarter. That's when there was rain. That's when there was all kinds of other weird stuff going on. They were not as with it endurance-wise, but they've really picked up the pace since then and created separation. Mechanix trying to make another push here. Justin Wallen trying to get free and does. He was able to throw it to a teammate and then get it right back. Joseph Cubitt finds Wallen, and Detroit is on the board here in the fourth.
And when you look at this game as a whole, really the determining factor for who's winning this game is quarter number 2. Because you look at Q1, Detroit outscored Indianapolis by 1. Q3, Indianapolis outscores Detroit by 1. But quarter number 2 is when the AlleyCats really started to put some distance between them and the Mechanix, outscoring them 8-4. So Mechanix need a big quarter of their own, looking to get their second break of the game here.
Yep, special night for the AlleyCats. This is their second to last game of the season. They've got one more next week against the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds. And of course, Kelsey and I will have that one for you as Nicholas Akers with that pull for Detroit. Michael Ames, shadowed by Gaither. Gaither got his hand on it, but was able to knock it away. He's trying to get loose on the other end. He was free in the end zone for a second. Now Detroit trying to capitalize.
Great defensive play there from Terry Gaither as we have a call. Defensive foul on the AlleyCats, so the Mechanix are going to get to center it at the goal line.
Talagate to the other side. Open Mechanic player in the end zone. And that is Chris Walls. And why is he so happy? That is his first goal in his career with the Detroit Mechanix.
And it comes at a pivotal time for the Mechanix. We were just sharing that they needed to get some breaks on the board. You see the defensive pressure there from Terry Gaither caused that one.
And give a lot of credit to Ray Palazzo, who had the disc initially and wanted to be careful about who he threw it to. And he waited until he got the right guy open. And the Cat strategy here, Kelsey, is a big factor because with this 3-point lead, you'd imagine they're going to work the clock quite a bit.
Yeah, and just hit the open receiver. Take what's given to you. I mean, if we talk about that turnover that just happened, I know that Michael Ames wanted to get the disc over to the break side, but there was really no reason for him to, force it that direction. Noah Wall cutting that way too. He was left open on the fore side. In a situation like this, just hit a quick little dump, run out the clock. We don't need to fight too hard to get it over to the break side and force something. And that's what caused that turnover. So Cats still in the driver's seat of 3 and about to receive, but timely break from the Mechanix.
There's Gregory Marino out there wearing the headband number 6, communicating with a couple of his players. Ray Palazzo staying out there. Terry Gaither as well, a happy man after he helped knock that disc down, which led to the score for Detroit. Yeah, at one point, to Kelsey's point that she mentioned earlier, it was an 8% break conversion percentage for Detroit. Now it's 13, 2 out of 15 for Detroit on the evening. And for the AlleyCats, you don't want that number to get a whole lot higher for them as they go with the rolling pull to the sideline. I think that's the first time they've done that tonight. They've opted to go deep with it. Now they're going to try to pin the AlleyCats and try to double team the holder and Michael Ames, but Ames is able to get it out quick to Chamberlain.
Looks like the Mechanix didn't quite get their double team set up. Not great for that strategy.
And the Cats make quick work of it. They went to the other side of the field, and Cole Heiser continues to have a night.
That's goal number 5 for Cole Heiser. I'm still trying to figure out what that is. Is that a water pump?
Yeah, I think that's been involved since the pregame. So it looked like Ryan Wartenberg brought it out, and then Drew Shepard had it, and I don't know. Hey, you know what? When you're part of a team, there's some inside jokes. We don't know all the intricacies of it. I'm sure there is a reason for it.
Well, we'll have to ask about that if we get the opportunity to do a post game. That's my first question.
Right. And we're either going to probably get Cole Heiser or Carson Chamberlain, depending on how this one goes. What an emotional night it is for Carson every time he plays Detroit, because that's who he spent most of his career with before coming over here. And yeah, the all-around night for Heiser. My goodness, 2 assists, 5 goals. Look at the yardage. It's an impressive evening for a man who's just in the 2nd year with the AlleyCats. And as you know, Kelsey and I, we make our sheets before the game where we put basically numbers next to each guy to see how many years it's been that they've been with this Cat franchise, and a lot of them have been just 2nd or 3rd year guys. And he's a 2nd year one. Perdicone, what a grab! My goodness, Justin Perdicone goes over the shoulder and it comes down with it and stays in bounds.
Great throw there as well from David Cox, and not sure if we got his celebration on camera, but he hits the crowd with a bow and arrow celebration after that pinpoint throw.
You might be able to answer this since you played Ultimate. Where did the kick spike celebration come in? And where did it come from, I guess?
I wish I could answer that one, but I think that was
Okay.
before my time.
All right.
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Well, I'm sure we'll probably see a lot of it in those games we told you about to watch tomorrow or the rest of the week. There's a lot of great Ultimate action, which you can get here on watchufa.tv.
And, you know, in that little wind-up, I just saw, I think we're going to see a roller pool.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And Coach Drew Shepard was running over there to try to tell his team, get that disc out of there quickly before the Mechanix can line up.
And that was a fantastic hustle play from Cole Heiser. The whole point of that roller pool was that the Mechanix wanted the play to stop, disc to be dead, be able to set their defense, and Cole Heiser stopped it before it got out of bounds, hit the dump right away, so the Mechanix never got an opportunity, and the Cats had an extra 25 yards or so to work with.
Oh no, and it looks like we've got a player down. And it might be Heiser, yeah. Now Heiser's helped up. Great sportsmanship. Sam Ingham's gonna come in for Heiser, and you just hope that that's nothing serious, especially with how much of a factor he has been.
He's had an incredible game. I mean, you don't want to see anybody injured regardless, but him exiting the game could be really tough for the AlleyCats.
And also, huge heads up to Anthony Grigoletti, the Detroit Mechanix player who showed a lot of sportsmanship to Heiser there. So that was good to see.
Grigoletti's in his rookie season with the Mechanix, and he's been working towards this for a long time. Good to see him out on the field.
Contact here and a foul on Detroit, so the Cats get to move the disc up. Yeah, Grigoletti's got a pretty big fan base here. He's got a few people here with his jersey on, so and the one thing you got to love about the Mechanix, their fans travel.
Easily the best traveling fans to Indianapolis. They always bring quite the presence.
Ingham with a one-handed grab in the end zone. Samuel Ingham continues to have a phenomenal year with the Cats.
And he's one of those young guys that we talk about him all the time. He always seems to be making an impact play, and frequently right when the AlleyCats need it.
And Jack Gall with a phenomenal throw there. Gall's numbers are more on the his numbers are more on the goals and block side, so that's only Gall's second assist. And then Ingham comes in on the sub there. He wasn't really supposed to be a part of that line because of the situation with Heiser, whatever that might be. You hope Cole Heiser's all right. Now Heiser's still standing up, appears to be okay. Might be a cramp, which with the weather being what it is, with how hot and humid it is, that might have been the case. And these guys are used to playing in heat in the summer, but this has been a different level of humidity today. Humidity's been at least 80% since the early morning, and when the first pull happened, it was at 85%. There's Felton looking for another score, trying to get it to Cubitt, and no, sir! Drew Hoppy denies him in the end zone. Remember, Felton and Cubitt started the game off with a Detroit Mechanix score, and that time the Cats They read it perfectly.
The Cats have learned a thing or two about the Mechanix strategy tonight. I liked the help defense there as they had 2 defenders in the end zone. Hoppy gets there for the D. And now the Cats have a break chance.
And break chances have been a big difference in this one. Detroit just 2 of 17 on break chances. The Cats struggling there too, 6 out of 21, but they're better. And they get another break opportunity but cannot cash in. So Jake Wall nearly got both hands on it, but it's a tough play there. Or excuse me, that was Mace Chope. But now Chope has a chance to play some defense here.
Mechanix have a guy open.
And nice defense to get there, Jason Kemp, but did they say he made contact? Yep. Yep, they call the foul on Kemp, so that's a break for Detroit. They get to keep the disc, and Kemp pretty much knew right away he made contact when he shouldn't have. So now Detroit gets to have it.
Yeah, that's a gift for Detroit as well, because that huck was short.
And then they get the quick score out of it to Chris Walsh. And Walsh heads back to the sideline, a happy man, as his team is now within 3. So the Mechanix not out of it by any stretch of the imagination here. A good throw by Justin Perticone in his 4th season with Detroit.
And good quick ending to that point there from Detroit. Like I was about to say a second ago, their huck that went up was short, which is why Kemp had a play on it. So I thought that one was no bueno, gonna be a turnover, but the foul call gets them the disc back and they take advantage.
But they are trailing and time is not on their side here. They've been doomed by 19 turnovers. The Cats have 11 blocks, but the Hucks have kept Detroit in it. 9 of their 17 scores have been on Huck tries. They're 9 out of 15. The Cats just 2 of 5 on Huck conversion. Havey finds Heiser. Heiser back in there looking for Gall. Makes the catch. Jack Gall. It doesn't even take the AlleyCats 20 seconds to get down the field and score, and Jack Gall continues to have a phenomenal year.
Jack Gall with the fantastic speed down the line. Nobody was able to defend that one, and it's good to see Cole Heiser back in the game. Beautifully placed huck. Right after we commented on the huck percentage not being great
right.
for the Cats.
So 2 for 5 just became 3 for 6.
The Cats came into this game last in the league in huck completion rate. So it's good to see them stringing some together here.
Well, I think a lot of that is because they've been behind in a lot of these games. When you're playing from behind against Chicago, from behind against Minnesota, you're going to have to huck it downfield to try to get back in it really quickly. It's similar to football. If you're down by a lot, you got to pass and score quickly instead of running the football. So Cats have had to do that more.
It seems like the Cats are always in like 2-3 second left situations as well, where they have to huck it the length of the field.
But it's amazing how often that can work in their favor. Cubitt trying to get it working in his favor here. And almost does. Felton lays out and tries to get it, but he cannot. And now Felton may be down. He's trying to get back up.
Just barely out of reach, and that was a heroic effort by Felton. You just hope that he's okay.
Now Felton is coming off the field. Terry Gaither is coming on to replace him.
That's not what you want to see if you're a Mechanix fan, especially with how much of their offense has run through Jacob Felton.
Break chance for Indianapolis. Less than 6 minutes to go. Trying to get their 3rd win of the season. All 3 of them would be against the Mechanix. Kemp loses his hat, doesn't matter. keeps things going for Indy. Betch, guarded by Gaither. It was John Wooden who was famous for saying, be quick, but don't hurry. I think that's probably the motto the Cats want to live by here. You don't mind being quick, but you don't want to hurry up and make a mistake while you're rushed. And what do we have? Wartenberg was backing up. And the Cats are calling a timeout. Okay. So the Cats call timeout. We might see a lineup change here. First timeout we've seen in the second half by either team. So
probably looking at the O-line coming back out on this one. And they're circled up with Coach Nathan Busberg right now. When we were chatting with the AlleyCats coaching staff before the game, Coach Drew Shepard said, hey, direct your questions to Busberg. He's going to practice this part. And everybody was laughing because Busberg is usually a man of few words.
Right, yep.
Not usually our pregame interviewee.
No. And his pregame keys to victory, I believe, were score more than the other team.
And catch the white plastic behind those white rectangles.
Man, we should just start calling him Socrates or Plato, you know.
Oh, no, but in all seriousness, Coach Busberg is really highly respected here in the Indy Ultimate community. He's a fantastic coach, and every player that he has had the pleasure of coaching has great things to say about him.
And as we were demonstrating by that story, a great sense of humor. So AlleyCats near the end zone. Gall's got it. With space to work with, tries to thread the needle and does to Carson Chamberlain. And that is now a 5-point advantage for Indianapolis, their largest lead of the game.
And 4 goals for Carson Chamberlain against his former team.
And 3 of those 4 have all come here in the second half. And I would argue that all 3 of them have been monster ones. That one right there, which is a back-breaking score against Detroit. You might remember, too, Detroit had an opportunity to cut it to 1. They dropped the disc. Chamberlain scores a goal in the third quarter to move the AlleyCat lead to 3. And then he has the score at the end of the third quarter, right as time expires. So all 3 of his goals here in the second half, I mean, of course, all goals are consequential, but the way that they were able to bring momentum for the AlleyCats in those situations, you cannot speak enough about that. Drew Hoppy with the pull again. Well, Mechanix have been relying on the Huck all night. With time running out, let's see if they continue to try that.
It's good to see Jake Felton back in the game. Glad that his injury wasn't anything serious.
Gessner trying to create distance against Matthew Weaver, who was giving him hardly any space to work with. Weaver's had a nice slate of time coming on here. Matthew Weaver's only played in a few games, his second year with the AlleyCats, and had a few blocks, a few assists. There's the Huck try by Felton, right into the center of the field, and it's taken away. Hoppy was there waiting on it. He's like, you know what? I've scouted you out. I know where you're going with it, and I will be there.
Great positioning there from Drew Hoppy, and you're right. The Cats know what the Mechanix need to do. With just a little time left in this one.
And Gessner knew what to do there against Mace Chope as he knocks that one away. But this has been the biggest problem for Detroit, not converting on break chances. They are 2 of 18. They need to get to at least 3 of 19 if they want to have any chance of winning this one. To the end zone they go with it, and a man wide open for the Mechanix, and it's Gessner yet again. Boy, look at how he seems like he's out of breath, man. I mean, he's done it on the defensive end, he's done it on the offensive end, and he was able to get wide open there.
He's played more points than anybody else in this game tonight, or at least tied with the top 2 or 3 guys. He played 23. That was his 23rd point of the night. So you're right, he's been running both sides of the ball, getting it done for his team, and the Mechanix are going to have to make some quick things happen here with only 3 minutes and 22 seconds left in this one.
Cameron Talagani with the pull. Trying to make sure they're lined up correctly. Cannon's out there with them, along with Richard Ware. And Trey Cook is out there as well. Remember, Trey had that chest thing a little bit. Looked like after he had that defensive play in the end zone, he had to come out for a little bit. So good to see Trey Cook back out there for Detroit. Cats with nice disc movement here. Heiser faking, knowing that he's got time on his side, takes his time, and that was nearly swiped away by Gaither, but held on to by Ames. Ames to the other side, and a leaping grab by Gall as he's able to keep it away from Eric Olson. Ames to Heiser. Gall's just outside the end zone, but he's got the easy toss in there to push the lead back to 5, and the goal this time from Joel Close.
With a 5-point advantage with only 2.5 minutes left, you have to believe that the Cats are going to come away with this one unless the Mechanix come up with some magic quickly.
This has just been the story of how a lot of these games have gone between Detroit and Indianapolis. It's a situation where, quite frankly, the game starts out close, but as Travis Carpenter, our second quarter guest, who's now part of the AlleyCat ownership group, former AlleyCat player, would say, endurance. Their endurance starts to wear down Detroit, and the second quarter is where they started to do just that.
That second quarter is really where they came away with everything, outscoring Detroit by 4, because even this fourth quarter, it's 5 scores to 5 scores in the fourth.
Yep.
So you take out that second quarter, and we've got a tie game right now, actually.
And that is probably going to be something that will drive Detroit coach Brent Steep nuts, because that is what he told us in the pregame. Huck try here. Cox trying to get it. No! Swiped away. Ben Close says no thank you.
Cox wanted the foul call there, but didn't get it, so now the Cats have an opportunity to break and extend this lead.
AlleyCats can use another timeout here if they want, but I don't think they're... Not sure what's going on here. The Cats look like they're backing up. Coach Drew Shepard looks confused. He's talking to one of the Detroit players. That was Cubitt. I'm not quite sure what's happening.
Looks like the referees are talking this one over between themselves.
I don't know if there is an integrity call or what the situation might be. Whatever the case is, the AlleyCats are going back. I think what might be happening here is there might be an integrity call that the AlleyCats are calling on themselves to say that there was a foul on them in the end zone, which would give Detroit the disc right outside the end zone. I think that's what's happening, yeah, because the Mechanix look like they are lining up right outside it.
You know, I'm not arguing with the call there. I did think it was a foul, but, I mean, we had a few throws go up in between the foul and the call, so.
Yeah, it was it's a late call, but either way, Detroit with the disc. Batted away! And the integrity pays off there for the AlleyCats. And it's close anyway. Ben Close, who was the one guilty of the foul, I guess. And then that was nearly a Callahan for Detroit. But AlleyCats were able to get out of the trouble there. Sam Ingham to Wall. Up to Betch. Betch going for it all. And he might have a man, and does! All the way down, Owen Woodward in his 3rd game as an AlleyCat player brings the fans to their feet, and with a smile on his face, gets it done.
You got to hand it to the Mechanix on that point. There was so much effort. I counted 3 layout D attempts. I mean, the Mechanix were hitting the ground left and right. Joe Cubitt almost got that Callahan. Hats off for the effort on that point from the Mechanix. Unfortunately, didn't pan out for them, and too little too late as the Cats are up by 6 with time winding down. Looks like the streak of the Mechanix losing to the AlleyCats will extend one more season. Again, they haven't beaten Indianapolis since 2012, the inaugural season for the league.
Also, to your point, the inaugural season for the league, Indianapolis is becoming a great ultimate community over that time. Center Grove has good ultimate teams. I've seen some good teams in the area in Westfield. There's a lot of great ultimate action, which can help eventually funnel into the AlleyCats, and that's a rare mistake you don't see from Joe Cubitt very often. The weirdest thing is the disc has been harder, I guess, for them to hold on to ever since the rain has fallen, as the Cats give it right back. But Huck try. Tallaghanie's going down there, trying to fight away Ben Landry, and Landry knocks it out of his grasp. So Ben Landry, who has really battled a lot to get on the field over these last few years, so that's got to feel great for him.
Hamstring looks okay tonight. Great play from Landry.
And an integrity call here on Detroit. Joe Cubitt calls it on himself, realizes he was guilty of the foul. Toss, and that's intercepted by Cubitt.
And the Mechanix throw it away immediately, so Cat Frisbee again.
And they get the score out of it. And this time it's Davenport. Robbie Davenport. Now, what was cool, Kelsey, I don't know if you saw this earlier, but when the AlleyCats took the lead by, I think it was 5, and now, of course, now it's 7, but when they took that lead, Davenport had a moment where he high-fived Derek Toe, of course, one of the AlleyCat owners on the sideline, and really had a cool moment with him. So Davenport's got to feel happy about coming up there for Derek in the end zone.
And Davenport has had a great season this year. He was actually our player of the game at the last Cats home game. He came up here to the booth for the post-game interview. Harrison was up here with me, and oh my goodness, that might have been the most entertaining post-game interview we've done, because Robbie Davenport recreated his goal celebrations for us up here in the booth.
Okay, love it.
He walked away saying, "I wonder if they asked me back up here. I doubt it."
Well, he's probably going to get back up here at some point, although I think it's either going to be I think we're going to have Carson Chamberlain this time. Chamberlain, I think, earned himself a post-game trip up here with that goal that he had. 1 second left, and Detroit does not have enough time. They run out of it, and the Indianapolis AlleyCats get their 3rd win of the season, knocking off Detroit for the 3rd time. Detroit falls to 1-9, and the AlleyCats continue their dominance over the Detroit Mechanix, having not lost to them in 13 years. And Kelsey, to your point, first quarter, Detroit has the lead, 5-4. AlleyCats pull away in the second quarter, and that was really all she wrote.
I think it comes down to, crazy to say it, but experience. I know that the AlleyCats have a very young roster, but the Mechanix have 18 rookies on the team. AlleyCats, a lot of them have been here before, and they really outplayed the Mechanix in the second quarter. If you erase that second quarter, it's a lot closer of a game, but Cats come away with this one.
So we'll run through some of the final stats for you when we get back. When we get back, we'll give you the final stats and interview an AlleyCats player. All that and more coming up when we return on WatchUFA.tv.
Careful what you say, cause you on a fight night. Yeah, we going quick, moving like a time, right? Yeah, I got a lot of enemies that try to take control of me. So I put it in the past so they won't notice me.
Catch has a step downfield. And he'll go for the assist as well. From one layout to another, the AlleyCats find a way to get it done.
High-powered point there.
Going for Havey. Havey's able to get there. On Betch dives and he got it. Oh my goodness, Nicholas Betch.
What you say, cause you on a fight night. Yeah, we going quick, moving like a time, right? Yeah, I got a lot of enemies that try to take control of me. So I put it in the past so they won't notice me.
And he'll go for the assist as well. Goodeman from one layout to another.
Well, back here at Kuntz Stadium in Indianapolis, as the AlleyCats are able to knock off the Detroit Mechanix 25-18, along with Kelsey Sparks. I'm John Herrick, and Kelsey, a lot of this came down to execution for the AlleyCats. They turned it over significantly less. They didn't have one of those high turnover games that they had before, where they had 30 plus. They kept it under the number they wanted, less than 20 turnovers tonight, and they got it done, especially in the second quarter when they started to pull away from Detroit.
AlleyCats tied their season low of turnovers, which was Coach Shepard's goal for the team. It's great to see them hit that goal. 19 turnovers for the night for the AlleyCats. Heck of a game from them, and you're right, that second quarter is really when the momentum shifted. They outscored the Mechanix 8-4, and the Mechanix just couldn't fight back from that deficit.
And it was a total team effort, of course, but Cole Heiser and Carson Chamberlain especially, the way they passed the disc around and the way they got in the end zone, 9 combined goals between the two of them, as Carson Chamberlain's going to join us right here right now. Carson, come on in, buddy. Good. Congratulations. This has got to be a bit strange for you, I know, playing against your former team, but you had a couple of big goals tonight that made a big difference, I thought. At the end of that third quarter, and with time winding down, how are you able to get free and score that goal there?
I think a lot of that is luck, being in the right place at the right time. Thankfully I was there for garbage time, so I appreciate them putting it up to me.
What is it like whenever you play against Detroit, knowing that you're now playing against them, and that's got to be such an emotional night for you?
Yeah, I love it. I love all those guys over there. Great guys. Nothing but love over there. Playing with them for 2 years, you create good bonds over there. So it's nothing but love,
What's been the biggest difference between the two teams?
It's just a different culture. Both cultures are great. I love both of them. Just two different cultures. Just kind of got to blend into whichever one you're playing for.
Coach Drew Shepard said to us before the game he wanted your guys to have the turnovers number down, and you guys were able to cut those turnovers down tonight. How were you able to do that?
Yeah, first quarter started off a little slow with the turn. We had a bunch of turnovers, but picked it up after that. Coach got on to us a little bit, but just not making risky throws, just throwing to the open person. It's easy. Game's easy when you do that.
When he got on to you, what did he say?
I don't think I can say that on camera.
Well, Carson, thanks a lot. Congratulations on the win, and best of luck to you next week against Pittsburgh.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us.
Carson Chamberlain, the former Detroit Mechanic, getting it done tonight, helping the AlleyCats win this one. Kelsey, your final thoughts on what was a an impressive win for the AlleyCats against a desperate team in Detroit.
Hey, lots to build on for the AlleyCats as they move forward with this very young roster. They've been hitting a lot of their team goals as the season has gone on, like tonight, their goal for 19 turnovers or less. So lots to build on as they get their third win of the season. One more to go.
All right, it is going to be the AlleyCats against the Pittsburgh Thunderbirds next Saturday. Kelsey Sparks and me, John Herrick, will be with you for that. We can't wait to bring it to you, the final game of the regular season. For the final time tonight, big thanks to all of our technical crew led by Jordan. And it's just been a great evening. We really appreciate all of your help tonight. 25-18, the final. The AlleyCats beat the Detroit Mechanix on WatchUFA.tv.